I'll be the first one to admit, when we drafted a Mecca, I was like, what are we doing, bro? We don't need a wide receiver. I am so glad that we drafted this guy, because this guy, 7 catches, 163 yards, a touchdown, 5 touchdowns over the first 5 games of his rookie career. He is definitely a safety blanket for Baker Mayfield. The kid makes play after play after play. I love this offense. Baker Mayfield clicked on all cylinders, 379 yards, 2 touchdowns. But man, Carlos, this definitely heightened my blood pressure once again. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Beardzone Sports Talk. My name is David. I got Carlos with me. And if you are a football fan in the state of Florida, this is the podcast for you. We cover all of Miami and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then on the college side, we have the FSU Miami. And Wednesday's episode should be a spicy one. So definitely be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button to follow along on this journey. Carlos, we're talking NFL today. Both of our teams played, and both were pretty close games. Your team ended up not getting on the right side of that win column, though. And this was a game that they should have won. We talked about it last week. We said this is, they're on a stretch of games right now where they're winnable games. These are the games that they need to go out there. They need to win to try and revitalize their season. And unfortunately, it did not pan out that way, as the Carolina Panthers got the win over your Miami Dolphins. Carlos, break it down for us, man. What happened?
Well, it looked good the first half. They're up 17-3, and then they give up the touchdown late, but it didn't seem like all hope was lost there. And then there's that not a whole lot going on in the third quarter, but you just kept seeing Carolina chipping away at that defense, man. It's really, that defense is really bad. Like, it's just bad. They cannot stop the run. The drafting Gant was not a Grant. I don't know what's going on with that guy, but he is getting moved. And I think he's finally realized that Michigan, it was just me and one other guy, and we battled, and he won those battles. The problem with the NFL, everybody's fast, everybody's strong. He just doesn't know how to quite play that position yet. And I think hopefully he'll get there, because that's a high draft pick. But they got to figure it out, man. They too many busted coverages. Like, they get into like some third and longs, and then they bust the coverage in the back end, and it's mind boggling. But, and it's not to, I don't want to make any excuses for them. It's just a bad football team, but they're decimated on the back end. Other than Mika Fitzpatrick, and as good as he is, he can't cover everybody. Those other corners are just terrible, man. I don't know what they're going to do in the off season. I don't know what that looks like for them. I don't know what the money is there. Rumors are they're going to release Tyreek Hill at the end of the year. So I don't know what that looks like in dead cap. Yeah. If that's dead cap space, what that does, I don't know all the logistics yet. Just try to get through the season without finding the nearest bridge.
Yeah.
But, the offense didn't look bad, but that defense, it's not good.
No.
There's just, where they're weak is where you need to be strong, and where they're strong, everybody's strong there. So it's not good.
Yeah. Well, Carlos, we talked about it, talking about this game leading up to it. We both said it's going to come down to the running backs. It's going to come down to the run game. Who can have the better run game? Because at the end of the day, as good as Tua was today, right? He didn't turn the ball over, 3 touchdowns through the air. He took care of the ball. But the inconsistency from both quarterbacks, from both Bryce Young and Tua, you can't rely on them to win either games. And so we said it was going to come down to the running game. Well, Carolina answered that call huge by rushing for 239 yards to Miami's 19 yards on the ground. That was it. They got completely shut down on the ground. And huge game for the running back, Rico Dowdle, from the Carolina Panthers. 23 carries, 206 yards, 1 touchdown. I mean, the guy was averaging 9 yards a carry. So pretty much give him the ball and you got a first down. So that was the big deciding factor. We talked about it last week. It's going to come down to this run game. Panthers answered the call, but the Miami Dolphins are now 1-4. They're without Tyreek Hill. Tyreek is no longer, I mean, we might as well just write him off the roster, right? Because he's probably not going to come back this year. I don't know exactly what the time frame is, if they've given a time frame for his return, but it was a nasty injury. Most likely not going to play, most likely not going to be able to come back for the regular season. Doesn't look like that they'll be in the postseason either, starting at 1-4 there, especially when you're in the AFC. So at this point, how many more weeks does McDaniels have?
That's a great question. Some guys they find a way to stick around. Like they'll win a game here, right when you're thinking, oh, let's get it, they win a big game. That is probably the $1 million question. Literally, it's going to cost millions of dollars to get rid of the guy, but they have to. I can keep saying they have to figure that identity. They're just not a good football team. It looked like on paper they were good, but the holes are so glaring. And I think you get when I looked at the Dolphins, I kind of got like it's like looking at a car that has some shiny chrome on it. But that's all you see is the shiny chrome. We see the Waddle, we see the Tyreek, the A-Chain, Fitzpatrick, Bradley Chubb, and Jalen Phillips. Well, that chrome is not chrome on some of those guys. They're just not. They're just. It's a bad team. I don't know, but I think it goes from bad to worse if they do fire him, just because whoever takes over is, halfway through. There is no spark. There's nobody on that coaching staff that can step in and, like we've seen in the past with Antonio Pierce with the Raiders. They don't have any of that. So once they make that move, you're literally, the team is at that point. I think they're more playing, hey, I don't want to get hurt or I want to play for bonuses. I don't think the rest is in play, but they got to figure out a way to get better in some areas. The problem is they don't have the talent there. Austin Jackson might come back at right tackle soon, which will be a boost for them. And they're able to shuffle again. But, I mean, that would help because it's technically Tua's blindside. So hopefully he can get back. We can see some pass protection. I'm okay with them not running for a ton of yards as long as the defense can play, but they can't. So they're going to have to figure out they're going to have to be this year's Bengals and put up 50 a game. And that does not look like they're capable of that.
No. And Tua is definitely not Joe Burrow. And I mean, yeah, man, that, not to go off track a little bit, but the fact that we now see what the Bengals look like without Joe Burrow, it makes it that much more impressive of what he was able to do with that team last year. But going back to the Dolphins, Carlos, it doesn't look like that McDaniels is probably going to be the head coach next season, most likely, unless if there's some big turnaround or they just want to give him, one more shot. But we see it a lot now where new head coaches come in and they want to. I mean, it's the head coach. They're married to the quarterback of the team. And if this new head coach is just not sold on Tua, which I don't know if a lot of coaches would be, to be honest with you, what does that look like? I mean, you just got done paying Tua, so I mean, he's a big cap hit. You can't just release him or just let him sit on the bench and collect that paycheck. But I feel like that if they're at a point now where if they get rid of McDaniels and they bring in a new coach, it's only a matter of time before Tua sees his way out as well.
Yeah, the problem with that is nobody will take Tua's contract, and it is too big to eat. The dead cap money would kill them for a few years. whoever their head coach has got to be, they have to have some experience with a quarterback that you're not going to get the 60-yard to 70-yard bomb out of. But it's capable of having the right mindset or the smarts to be able to adjust and put that quarterback in the right place to make him better. And there's only a couple guys out there for next year. And I know we're talking way ahead, but I said it earlier in the year. Bill Belichick, I think, is that guy that understands this is the guy I have to work with and what I need around him to be better. I don't think it happens over time. I don't know if they can pull him out of North Carolina. And the other guy is Cliff Kingsbury. He's another guy, young, and he's an offensive minded guy that I think can help with Tua. But it doesn't matter who's behind that offensive line. It's so bad. At this point, it doesn't matter. We don't know what we're getting out of Tua. Even everybody in the last 4 to 5 years, Miami's offensive line's been really bad. So, I mean, until they figure out that part, it doesn't matter who we put back there. I mean, it really doesn't. We can put Josh Allen back there, and we're still a 500 team at best.
Yeah, I mean, and Tua so far this year has thrown for 1,008 yards, 10 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, has a QBR of 51.9. So he's not lived up to what everyone was hoping that he was going to live up to, especially with the weapons that he does have around him. I understand that Tyreek Hill is out, but he still has Jalen Waddle. He still has Achane. Now Darren Waller, I mean, hell, that guy's balling out right now for the past two weeks. Definitely a red zone threat for Tua. Tua likes him down there, and in the red zone, big target, big physical guy. He's definitely an athlete. I don't know, man. It's the Dolphins are in a bad place right now. They are in a place where they can't just throw away this Tua, because they can't get rid of that contract, but they need offensive line help for sure, but then they also really need to focus on defense. You said Bill Belichick. Belichick is a defensive-minded head coach, so it might help them out if they were to bring in someone like that or to bring in a defensive mind coach. But then what does that do for this offense? So, I mean, because with Flores, it was not working out for them. So they're in a really weird position right here, Miami. 1-4, not the way that you want to start a year for sure. And honestly, I was just looking at their upcoming games. You have the Chargers next week. Chargers playing really good. You have the Browns. That defensive line with the Browns is a rough one to go up against when you have a weak offensive line. Then you have the Falcons, the Ravens, the Bills, the Commanders. I mean, really, man, they could be bottom dwellers for sure here in the NFL, going for that first top 3 pick for next year's draft class. Which might help them out because it is a defensive heavy class coming out this year. So maybe they can grab someone who can maybe help bring some life to this. But man, it's a rough time to be a Miami fan. That is for sure.
Yeah. And the worst part is I don't think as Miami fans, we quite saw this coming, and maybe it's just me, but any fan that's like, oh, I've been seeing, you're full of it, because we're 11-6. That offense was clicking. I think where Miami really got to hurt was when Vic Fangio just up and left. Brian Flores definitely didn't help at that time, but when Fangio left, it really hurt the defense. But hopefully we get a quarter. This is Mike McDaniel's last year. And I think it's Greer's last year as the GM as well. I mean, he's the one that's putting these players on the field, giving them this roster. But I feel like a Kingsbury or Belichick would be smart enough. Kingsbury knows he's an offensive mind. I'll go find the defensive guy and leave him alone. Same way with Belichick. Belichick is a defensive guy, but he's smart enough to go get a good offensive coordinator.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he definitely knows how to put a good coaching staff together.
Yeah. I think that the Dolphins, and who's going to be their next their GM? So that's going to be that gets to take this roster. But there are some people that are signed for a few years, some of the key pieces, and there's stuff to build around. And they got to get that. It starts from the bottom, brother. The scout team too's got to go out and find those offensive lineman gems. They just got to do a better job.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they're 1-7, or not 1-7, but they are. Whoa, getting a little ahead of myself. Getting a little ahead of myself. But they are 1-4 right now. They have the Los Angeles Chargers next week. Be sure to stay tuned for that Friday episode because we're going to be breaking down the keys to that game on our Friday episode. So be sure to hit that subscribe button to follow along. But Carlos, let's go ahead and let's go over to the high blood pressure Bucs. So because these guys, man, they love these close games. That's this their entire season has been down to the wire, and it was just like that today on the road in Seattle. First of all, I gotta say this: Seattle, y'all have a team. That team is good, man, and that defense, extreme. Everyone wants to talk about how good that defense is, and they are. I'm not taking anything away from them. That front four, y'all can get after the quarterback, and you guys, I think, are one of the lowest blitz teams in the league as far as your blitz rating. They don't blitz a lot, but this offense, Sam Darnold, JSN, Kenneth Walker, I mean, these guys ball out. Sam Darnold has definitely revitalized his career, and I am here for it. But I am glad that we were on the winning side. It was kind of a tale of two halves. First half, it was 13-7 going into the locker room. Super slow start for both teams, but then they came out and they just started exchanging blows, man. Boom, boom, boom. I think the Seattle Seahawks went on a 5-drive streak where it ended up in a touchdown every single drive. We could not stop a nosebleed on defense. There were so many times there when they went up 35-28 on that drive for the Seahawks. There were a few times there that the Bucs had an opportunity to get off the field or turn the ball over, and they just missed it by a hair. And obviously Sam Darnold and that offense took advantage of it. They went up 35-28, put the Bucs in a position where they are very comfortable in, it seems like, and Baker Mayfield continued to do his thing. I said it. I'll be the first one to admit, when we drafted a Mecca, I was like, what are we doing, bro? We don't need a wide receiver. I am so glad that we drafted this guy because this guy, 7 catches, 163 yards, a touchdown, 5 touchdowns over the first 5 games of his rookie career. He is definitely a safety blanket for Baker Mayfield. The kid makes play after play after play. I love this offense. Baker Mayfield clicked on all cylinders, 379 yards, 2 touchdowns. But man, Carlos, this definitely heightened my blood pressure once again.
Yeah, it was definitely good. You could see it in the beginning. You said it started off a little bit of a battle. Not sure which way it was going to go, and then the offenses took off. They got good field position, did their thing, and then pass off a helmet to Levante David.
Dude,
sometimes it's better lucky than good. So they definitely it looks good. I question how good you could be as a defense and give up 463 yards and 38 points. I do question that part, but they have been playing very well. It just shows how good that Baker Mayfield is. Man, he gets out of jams. That offensive line is playing well. It's playing well enough, especially on that left side of that offensive line with Worth and Barton. They're man, if it's started one, what side it's going to. Like, it's not hard.
You do. You 100%,
for sure. Man. But Buka is. Are we slowly seeing the changing of the guard, the passing of the torch? I mean, Evans is on the sideline. He's aging. I don't care what anybody says. He's aging. He's getting there. I mean, if he gets 1,000 yards again, it's over 17 games, not 16 anymore. And I don't know how 1,000 yards in 17 games is a huge deal, but I guess it is these days. But Um, I think we see the new kid. He's the number one. There was a guy who wasn't hurt that's back on the team again, but I don't know if he did. Godwin even play? I know he played, but
Godwin, yeah, I
he's
mean, God,
insignificant.
he is. He is. He really is. And I mean,
It-
Baker looked at him a couple of times. He did have a drop pass there early on in the game. But Emeka was targeted 7 times, and he caught 7 of those targets. So
yeah,
he was 100%. He was batting 1,000 today. He just gets open. And I think it comes down to we've heard it over and over again. So many players from within the locker room, the coaching staff, even going back to his Ohio State days. This kid is smart. He knows his knowledge of the game is so far surpass what most rookies
yeah.
are, and he just finds a way to find the weak spots in the zone and to get himself in a position to be open because not like almost all of those throws to him there wasn't a guy within a 5 yard span of him, except for that touchdown pass, which, by the way, that was a fantastic throw by Baker. I mean, just you couldn't have thrown it any more perfect than that throw to Emeka there. I believe it was in the second quarter. But I mean, this kid, man, he gets open. He is definitely a bright spot in this offense. We saw Rashad White out there. He ended up scoring 2 touchdowns there down there towards the goal line. That was something that I was happy to see. This team has struggled to turn red zone visits into touchdowns, and today they were able to capitalize on their red zone visits. I think out of 5 or 6 times they scored 3 or 4 touchdowns down there in the red zone, and then obviously they kicked a couple of field goals. Chase McLaughlin, man, he's a for sure kicker. I mean, we can rely on him in these kind of things. But yeah, man, big play by the defense. Call it luck, call it whatever you will. But Levante David made a huge interception there because I mean, I was worried, Carlos, because we weren't stopping this offense, and the fact that we weren't stopping this offense, I was. Even the commentators said it. It was a game of who is going to hold the ball last, and Seattle
Yeah.
truly had the ball last, and they were most likely going to be able to march down the field. But big stop by the Levante David. Thank you, Logan Hall, for putting your head up just a little bit higher, so then that way that ball can bounce off of your helmet. And I will take the win. But the Bucs are now 4-1. All of their games, like I said, have been close. And next week they are back here in Tampa against the 49ers. So they got some big games coming up. They got the 49ers, they got the Lions. Definitely, a couple of games that we still need to continue to win. But the Bucs are sitting at 4-1 right now. And Carlos, is this a team that once they get healthy, is this a team that hey, other teams have to watch for in the postseason, or do you think that their luck is going to run out?
No, I think it's a playoff team. I mean, where they've got to get healthy, they'll get Evans back at some point, and if they keep winning, they don't have to push him back. But Evans is a competitor, and he'll want to get back in there. So they just have to make sure they don't push him back in too early. They really don't need him at this point. They're doing what they need to do without it. I think getting Bucky back is more important for them to just give him a little bit more explosiveness.
Yeah, we definitely need Bucky.
It's funny because last week you said McCollum. You liked McCollum better, and watching the game, he was playing. So if Dean gets healthy, is that help or is it better or worse for the defense? So some of the injuries they have, is it better? Their offensive side of the ball needs to get healthy, but that's what's clicking. The defensive side of the ball is not banged up, but what is banged up isn't good. So getting Dean back, I don't think helps. McCollum, he's you could tell he's faster, he's quicker on there. So I think that you're gonna see. It's going to be interesting when they come up into the playoffs. You're like the Lions game is one game I want to see. The Lions are very good again this year. I think that's going to be interesting. Next week's going to be interesting because Slaya's defense is going to but I think that's a very winnable game. It's at home. But, man, you can't count the 49ers out. Those
No,
guys, they should be losing.
they
Got
should be,
Jennings
but they're
out.
not.
They
They're
should be
not.
losing. I mean, Mac Jones can barely walk to the sideline, but somehow they're still winning. But I think the Lions game will give you a little bit of a taste of what you're going to see in playoffs. And then they got the Bills in Buffalo. That'll be another one to be interesting because they go Bills and they go Rams right back to back, both on the road.
Yeah.
On there. So that's gonna they do have a nice stretch here. Like you mentioned earlier, the back end, the last 3 games, I think you can give them 3-0. It's Panthers, Dolphins, Panthers. But they always seem to find a way to split the Panthers. I don't know what that is with them.
I don't know what it is with the Panthers either. They always seem to, play us a little bit tougher. I remember, I think it was last year, if it wasn't for Anthony Nelson punching the ball out there towards the end, Panthers would have won that game, but we ended up getting a good break from him. So something that I want to see, Carlos, from this defense, like you said, the offense is clicking. But despite the injuries, the offense is clicking, and it truly is because of the play of Baker Mayfield and how good Abuka is. Whenever you get Bucky Irving back out there, that's just going to add more explosiveness to this offense. We saw some good catches there from the rookie, Tez from Oregon. And, so he I think he had like 5 catches or so, but they were good catches. A couple of them were for a first down. But Carlos, this defense, man, there's one stat that from this defense today that I don't like at all. And it's 0 sacks. They didn't get to the quarterback at all. And there was some pressure, but the pressure came from up the middle. We've got to get these edge guys going. Diaby did get a little bit of pressure there towards the end of the game, but it still mainly came from up the middle. These edge guys have got to get after that quarterback. They've got to.
The Bucs got to do one thing that they don't do, and I don't think they're going to do it. They got to address that. You're right. I think there are 1 or 2 players away on the defensive side for this team contending for a Super Bowl, but they got to make an in-season trade, and Jason Light is not that guy for that. And what are you willing to give up? Because if you could get an edge guy that requires more attention, Yaya can definitely pick up the slack. He's going to get more just one-on-ones, but it'll make him better, and then you're already getting that pressure at the middle. But they Morrison is getting a little bit better in the back end. They could use somebody in that back end. It doesn't have to be a star caliber player. It just needs to be a tough player. But they've got to do something. And I don't know what they're willing to give up, but to finding somebody that's got a couple years left on a contract, but that is really good. And they might look at somebody like a trade partner like Miami. If you go out and you get a Bradley Chubb that's only got a couple more years, but Chubb's got 3-4 sacks this year already, so he's putting pressure on. Or maybe if you want to go younger and it's a Jalen Phillips, but there's got to be a team out there that's looking for some capital back and willing to release some cap space as well. And the Bucs are going to have to do it. I don't think this is a Super Bowl winning team. Even when Evans comes back, Bucky's back. In the Super Bowl, it's just like in baseball, you have a team of great hitters. It only takes a stud pitcher to stop it. So you're going to eventually hit a stud defense that's gonna slow you down enough that even if they could cap your offense to 20 points and your defense is going to give up 30. I mean, to win a Super Bowl, you got to play defense. So.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to need it. They got to figure out something with that, like you said, with that pass rush, but it's going to require Jason Light to do something. I don't remember the last time the Bucs have done an in-season trade.
I can't remember the last time the Bucs have done an in-season trade either, but, as you're sitting here and as you're talking about that, I'm going through edge rushers that, obviously, would be more realistic. Of course.
The Giants have got an excess of guys, and Thibodeau up there is a guy that's to get to the passer, and he's a stud. They're gonna have to give up something for him. They're gonna have to give up a high draft pick, or they're gonna give something up. But you're talking about a guy that instantly makes your line better, And the Giants did that with Brian Burns. Look how it decimated Carolina in their pass rush, and they sent Burns and that's the only thing the Giants can do is get to the rush the passer. But
Yeah. Well, and I mean, New York picked up the 5th-year option for Thibodeau, but that you're right. Thibodeau would be, because he was actually the guy who I was thinking of. It was him, and it was actually your guy down there in Miami, Phillips. I thought that he would be a good addition as well. That we might be able to trade for, but I mean, we've got to get someone, because, like you said, Yaya can produce on the edge, but he needs someone on the counterpart to really kind of take some of the focus away, so then that way he can do what he does so well. Because Yaya one-on-one, I've watched him, man. Yaya one-on-one is so athletic. He can get back there and he can disrupt the play. But if there's so much focus on him, of course, Vita Vea, draws, plenty of attention, but that's up the middle. You can't rely on Vita Vea to get back to the quarterback all the time. I mean, that's just not realistic.
yeah,
And he needs to be focusing, eating up the run. But I think you're right. I think this team is, a couple of defensive players away, or for just, a good solid edge rusher away from really, truly contending for, a Super Bowl spot here. So, but this offense, I'll continue to take this offense clicking on all cylinders.
here's the thing with the Bucs, and they're so close, and you see this every year in baseball. Every year you see a team sell out, go make a trade away some prospects to win a World Series. Because you don't get it often unless you were the Patriots back a decade ago. Then you win every year. But they have that ability, because there's one thing about the Bucs that I've seen so far this year: the same amount of intensity you get on snap 1, you get on snap 100. It doesn't stop, and especially with like Baker, Levante, Villa. Like, it's the same intensity, and that, especially on offense, that's what helps them out. Like, those guys, they're I mean, they seem fresh though. They seem fresh the whole game.
Yeah.
But they're they gotta do something on there. I mean, you got Baker playing at the highest level he's played in his whole career. He looks awesome. You have Ibuka now, that is your one. He's your one. I don't care when Evans comes back and what those loyal Mike Evans fans say. As a guy looking from the outside in, he is it. He's him. As the young kids say, he is him, and he is the WR1. When Evan comes back, sometimes the old dog's got to just let the young guy go. But he is the one now, so they've got to do something. But that team, man, it's their fight. If you're going to play them, that's going to be a fight. Next week's going to be the same way. That Schley is going to bring it. But as much as I was rooting for them to lose, I wasn't. It's going to be interesting to see what they move forward. I mean, they got some tough games, so we'll see what happens.
It is going to be interesting, but I mean, one thing for sure, this team is going to fight you all the way to the very end, no matter how far out they seem from, the game. I mean, last week against the Philadelphia Eagles, that game was, set in stone, and then we ended up rallying back there.
So I got a question. You're a fantasy football guy, right? You propose trades.
I do propose trades out there.
Are you as a diehard Bucs fan, are you willing to give up a one for a star edge guy if you're able to get a guy, and let's just say maybe it's only for 2 years? Are you willing to give that one up to do
like
that?
Like a first round pick?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me tell you something. I'm going to say that I've said this. I said this over the off season. I've said this as long as we've been doing this podcast. And I guess the counter argument to what I'm about to say is Ibuka, right? But you're not going to hit an Ibuka every time with these draft picks. There are so many times that we have seen teams go all in with these draft picks, and they just don't pan out. I would much rather give up a potential for a certified stud to come in and to help us compete for a Super Bowl. So yes, I would 100% give up draft stock down the road on a potential, because let's be real, we don't know how good you're going to be in the NFL until you're in it, right?
Yeah.
So I would give up draft stocks for the future to get us a certified stud to come in and to help this edge rush and to get after the quarterback. so then that way we can fight for and we can contend for a Super Bowl. Because I'm telling you this right now, as good as Baker is, as good as this offense is, at some point, like you said, we're going to run into a team where it's going to be tough to move the ball. We're going to run into that championship caliber defense that is going to be very difficult to move the ball on. And sometimes your offense just isn't doing it. Sometimes, no matter how good of a quarterback you are, sometimes you just have off days. And that game can happen. And that's when you're going to need a defense. That's when you're going to need to put the pressure on the other side and not have it be on Baker Mayfield, not have it be on this offense. You're going to have to put it on the other side and put it on this defense. And putting the pressure on the quarterback is the number one thing to do, because then that disrupts everything. We'll stop the run. I'm not worried about us against the run, but we need to get after the quarterback. So, yes, 100% I would give up a future one, so then that way we can get a certified stud. Will Jason Light do it? Probably not. From his track record, no. But I will continue to take his draft picks because he can draft the hell out of some players.
So, as an outsider watching Bucs fans, is Todd Bowles good this year?
I'm good with Todd Bowles. Yeah, no, let's roll him.
I have heard always when the Bucs, if they lose a couple games, Todd Bowles is the worst. He's terrible. He doesn't do this. He doesn't do that. But it's all of a sudden, man, Todd Bowles, pretty good coach.
Hey, we like him around here in Tampa, you know. So.
He's getting heavy though. I don't know what the stress is going on, but I was watching him walk. Maybe it was the creamsicle hoodie today, but he's put on a few pounds, man. He's kind of getting in that Andy Reid status.
Hey, you know what though? But Andy Reid wins Super Bowls, so let's do it, Todd. I'm 100% okay with this. So, but do us a favor. Hey, if you're a Miami fan, if you're a Tampa fan, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, share this with all the other fans out there. We will be here for the remainder of the season. Follow us.
For the Miami fans, will you post that hotline on the bottom again so we can call? It's free therapy. I know at times you may have thoughts come through your head. Just call that number on the bottom there. They'll talk you out of it, and
oh boy,
we're good for another week.
Gee, hey, no dark thoughts over here. None of that over here. So, but hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and follow us on all of our social medias. The links are down there in the description below. Wednesday, if you are a college fan, more specifically a Miami Hurricane fan or a FSU fan, be sure to stay tuned for that episode because it was an unfortunate weekend for FSU fans here. So, but we will get into that on Wednesday, and then on Friday we will be back for the other NFL episode. So, but we appreciate you guys. We love you guys, and until Wednesday.